Today, I have the honor and pleasure of interviewing my friend Susan Hannigan.
Susan, when did you first move to Washington Heights and why?
I moved to Washington Heights 15 years ago. In my previous home I lived in, I was starting to work out from home, and I was working out of a corner of my bedroom, like a lot of New Yorkers have discovered doing in the last 2 years. And I found it was probably not good for my head nor my love life. And I thought it maybe had been time to start looking for larger spaces and see what was available. And I had friends who were up in the Heights, and I was astounded by the architecture and some of the beauty and the history of the area. And I could see what was going to happen down the road, that the neighborhood was going to change for safety reasons, that Columbia was going to expand and the influence on that. And I decided to start looking around.
Speaking of the neighborhood, could you just give me a little bit of neighborhood flavor? What are some of your favorite haunts and maybe why?
Oh, a lot of different ones. Walking distance up the hill from mine is a wonderful place called the Morris Jamel Mansion. It's the oldest mansion in Manhattan. It's a literal George Washington slept here mansion. Besides being historically accurate, they have extraordinary things like free camps for kids during the summer, or next to near free camps. A lot of educational facilities and wonderful gallery showings. So they're fantastic. Word Up Bookstore started up as a pop-up, and the neighborhood.
What is it? I'm sorry.
Word Up Bookstore.
Okay.
Word Up Bookstore started up as just an experimental pop-up about 9-10 years ago, and the neighborhood fell in love with it. And it's now a full-time, all volunteer run bookstore, which besides books, they do readings, they do concerts, they have a community fridge. They were providing vaccines and masks for the neighborhood. Again, all volunteer, all extraordinary principles, things like that are great. If you're a person with kids, there is the Sugar Hill Children's Museum and Storytelling Center, which has a combination of galleries with extraordinary artists creating interactive exhibits for children. Plus, they have a studio, which always has amazing materials and wonderful teachers working with kids, and this beautiful storytelling space. It's a treasure of Manhattan that I think a lot more people need to know about who have small kids. And they also have, I believe they have a preschool, and they also had a summer camp that my kid actually went to one summer. And so it's, there's a lot of real richness of history and culture into arts and community dedication. Like Word Up, it's basically just people saying, what do we do to make the neighborhood work? What do we need? What do we need to support? And it's not just creative, it's principles, ethics. You know, a lot of people here get that New York is changing, and a lot of people in need, and a lot of people need support, and they want to give back and give their time, and they're amazing.
So what keeps you in New York? What keeps you in Washington Heights?
I don't want to be one of those arrogant New Yorkers that think it's the only place. I don't want to pull that crap because there's nothing more annoying than anybody saying that about their neighborhood. I totally get why some people don't want to be in New York. So I'm not, I get it's dirty, it's expensive, it's loud. However, I think New York demands of you more and thus gives you more. It's fairly small. We're an island, so it's a blender. So you constantly have to say to yourself, I'm going to be interacting with somebody not like me in some way. Some cities, they're so broad, you can basically stay in your pocket, whatever your pocket is. But if you go to a park, if you go to a movie, if you go to a culture event, you will be sitting next to somebody who has a completely different experience than you of what life is about. And it makes you, I think, if you go for the ride, a richer, stronger, more blessed person for it. And then the flip side of that is, like, the Metropolitan Museum now is doing free date night on Friday and Saturday night with live music and cocktails. it's free if you're a New Yorker. That's nuts. That's, yeah, oh yeah, I'm just going to go and that's just sort of just on the news. Abandoned storefronts, there's a whole story of, okay, we've got these businesses that are not using them. They're being used for art installations. It's that's worth it to me.